Welcome to Discover Janesville. My name is Yuri Rashkin, and today's episode is underwritten by Alliant Energy. We are here today, guests at Best Events Showroom, and the episode today is called Future Leaders. It is centered on people that are likely to be involved in the future of Janesville. My next guest is Matt Kealy. Matt, thanks for being on the program.
Yuri, thanks for having me.
You are practically a force of nature. You've been working in your own restaurant since you were 4?
Well, 14, close.
And now you're right. So how did you get involved in the restaurant business? It's kind of fitting that we're sitting here and your billboard is right across the street there promoting another of your restaurants.
14 years old, decided I wanted a job.
Yeah.
Limited options. So I decided, well, just on the block and over a little bit was Katie's Cafe. So I went in, turned in my application. One thing led to another, and I was scrubbing dishes the following Friday.
So they were just lucky that you were in the neighborhood.
I think we were both lucky. I was in the neighborhood. I got a job, and they got an employee.
Okay.
So.
And now you own how many restaurants?
We have 4 restaurants now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is all over how many years?
6 years ago, I bought the first restaurant.
So. Wow. So over 6 years, you've grown to 4 establishments. They all bear your name?
We've got Keely's Cafe and Matt's Doghouse.
Okay.
So,
cool.
We're there.
What do you like about having your businesses in Janesville?
I think Janesville is a very family-oriented community. It's somewhere that I've been born and raised since birth, and I'm proud to be part of it. And I think the community is very receptive to a local-run business here in town.
That has been something that I've noticed as well. In some of the other places where I've been, it seems like the chain restaurants are the preferred way, and I think in Janesville we actually like a lot to have a local restaurant.
I mean, being local is great. I mean, I see families sometimes multiple times throughout the week. I get to watch their children grow up in my restaurant. You know, they're coming in a little car carrier, and the next thing you know, they're, in a high chair toddler, and they work their way through, and you see them going into school and stuff like that. And it's great to be part of that.
Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Having ownership of 40 restaurants, or?
I don't know about 40. I'd see myself in Janesville still. I'm proud of this community. I mean, it's somewhere that I've planted my feet, that I'm going to continue to hopefully someday raise a family here myself. 40 restaurants, I don't know. It's getting tougher and tougher every time we get another one. So, but
is it?
It is. But it's great. I mean, I've got good employees that help us out, and my family's very supportive of it. And
now, I would think that the hardest thing about being as active as you are and doing as many things as you do, to delegate would probably be a challenge, because you need to rely on other people to do some of the things for you.
We're learning. That's one of the biggest issues I've had, was I've done so much myself so long that now I don't have time to do it all. So you got to kind of branch out a little bit here and a little bit there. And I've had some people that have helped up tremendously and stepped up to the plate to take their share of the workload, though.
So it's a delegation. What have you learned? What have you learned from being in Janesville and from running your own businesses? And what would be some of the lessons?
I think being in Janesville, I mean, it's a very family-oriented community. I mean, there's not a ton of hustle and bustle in this town. A lot of unity. You see a lot of families that do a lot of activities together. But we're close enough to surrounding communities that we can still get some of that bigger city experience, but we've got that warm hometown feel. As far as what I've learned from owning my business, compassion.
How many employees do you have, even approximately?
I think we just hit the 50. So we just hit 50 employees here.
So there's 50 people whose livelihood, in part at least, depends on you.
The door's opening today and tomorrow, yeah. And my livelihood depends on the 50 of them.
Exactly.
I mean, it works together.
So do you feel that Janesville is more of a small community that's growing, or is it a big city that's kind of small in numbers, or where do you see Janesville fitting in?
I would say between the two. I wouldn't say we're a small town, but I don't think we're a large community. I think we've got that middle-sized community, but I'm glad to see we've got the resources that are struggling and fighting to keep up with the big towns, and holding that small town feel still.
What are things that are important to you about Janesville? What makes, as long as those things are in Janesville, that you feel that this, that we're moving in the right direction?
one of the things I think Janesville needs to have is obviously a workforce. We need people making revenue to use our establishments.
What I mean is, there's certain features, and you're involved with the Janesville Area Convention Visitors Bureau.
Yes.
But there are things like Tolman House, but there's also things like the airport and shopping. And which of these do you think makes Janesville what it is? Because you've been here, you've been in other places. What makes Janesville unique in your opinion?
What makes Janesville unique, in my opinion, would be we've got a great park system. Building on that, anything from Traxler Park to Riverside Park, Palmer Park, we have the tools here. It's a matter of maintaining the tools we have. The Janesville Jets came to town. I think that's great for bringing in people from outside of town. You know, we can have so much business in town, but we need to continue to bring in more traffic, more businesses to help prosper this community.
So it's about growing on what we have and bringing in more.
Yeah, I think ultimately, you know, maintaining what we have would be the core goal, and building upon that, and as the opportunity would approach us, to expand upon it.
Cool. Vision is something that I would imagine you have as somebody who's been in business for yourself, and Vision is somebody that's been a life resident of Janesville. Where do you see this community in 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years?
I think down the road this community will be stronger than it ever was.
What does it mean?
At this time, you know, we lost a very large player in this town.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pick up and move on. I think it's important to build on what we have already here. You know, same as an asset. I mean, we've got a workforce here. We've got buildings here. If we continue to build upon those, Rock County 5.0 has some tremendous ideas. Taking these items and running with them, marketing our town as that family-oriented community to bring in businesses that want to be here. I think this town, our population could increase. I think ultimately we could have a more diverse community in the future, and I'm excited for it. I'm proud to be part of it, hopefully someday.
So the GM is our proud past, and now we're a blank slate where we could be anything we want to be.
We've got to go somewhere in the future.
Right, right. You're so active in the community on the business end of things, mm-hmm. but you really are just starting to branch out into more community service.
Correct.
Serving
in the past, you know, we've been involved in charities, you know, as far as a small contribution, and as we can make them and stuff like that, doing some fundraisers and stuff like that. But yeah, I've really enjoyed partaking in more of the events now.
Sure.
You know, the dining for a cause and stuff like that.
Why? Why is it? Do you feel like it's time to get more involved now?
It is. I mean, it's when I first started the business, I was so busy opening it up in the morning, working breakfast, working lunch, closing up, and I've got a great staff to help with that part. And now it's essentially my time to start giving back. The community's been good to me. The community stood behind me as we've expanded. And there's a lot of good in this town that just needs a little help push and a little extra support and someone to help do it. And I've been asked to do it a few times, and I've been enjoying doing it.
Well, one of the things I see that's I really like about Janesville, and maybe is different from other places, that you have the same people who are involved in the business community and the community service and in the political side of things. It's kind of the same group of people, and it's good to see you become more a part of it. And
it's fun to be part of it. I mean, it's very terrifying at first. I don't know why.
Is it?
You know, you're putting yourself out there the first time. It's a little edgy, you know, and it's once you start doing it a few times, I mean, it's something that you look forward to doing the next time. You can't wait to do more of it.
Well, and giving back to the community, I think helping is kind of what you do already with your business.
Yeah.
So this is just a different way of compassion and showing that skill.
Yeah.
Cool. Matt, good luck. Thank you so much for all you do. And
appreciate it. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks.